Welcome to Talk Wave, making waves, one talk at a time.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You ready to dive in?
Always ready.
All right, well, buckle up because today we're tackling some serious stuff. Pronouncements made by President-elect Trump on transgender individuals.
Yeah, this is a big one. Lots to unpack here.
Definitely. We've got like a whole mountain of articles and reports, the whole 9 yards. We're going to try to break down what he's saying, these policies he's talking about, what they could mean, where this could all lead. And just want to say up front, this is a sensitive topic, so we're going to be super careful. Sticking to the facts from these sources, no opinions from us.
Right, absolutely. Just the information presented objectively.
Exactly. So let's get into it. The big thing that jumped out from, I think it was the America Fest thing, was this idea that he's planning to, like right off the bat, issue all these executive orders, first day in office kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was a pretty striking part of that speech. Seems like he's really prioritizing this.
Yeah, and one of the biggest ones that getting a lot of attention is this this idea of legally defining gender as strictly male or female based on, your biological sex at birth. Big question here is, can he even do that, like with an executive order?
Well, presidents have used executive orders for a long time, to tell federal agencies how to put laws into practice. But what we're seeing in these sources is this idea that Trump wants to use this power to reinterpret existing laws.
Okay, so not necessarily like creating new laws, but changing how we understand the old ones?
Right, exactly. Like with Title IX, for example. He's aiming to make it match up with his stance on gender.
Ah, I see.
And that's where things get kind of tricky, legally speaking. A lot of critics are saying this goes way beyond what a president can do with an executive order, could lead to some serious legal battles.
Yeah. It sounds like a potential legal minefield.
Yeah.
So not just a simple declaration. Like you said, there's a whole bunch of legal stuff tangled up in this.
Okay.
Another thing we're seeing in these sources is this proposed ban on something called gender-affirming care, especially for minors. I got to be honest, I'm not totally clear on what all that entails.
Yeah, gender affirming care is a pretty broad term, covers a lot of different things. It can be medical, psychological, anything aimed at helping people align, their body and how they feel about their gender.
Okay, so like what specifically are we talking about here?
So it can include things like hormone therapy. There's also puberty blockers for, younger folks who haven't fully gone through puberty yet. And then in some cases, it can also involve surgery.
I see. So a pretty wide range of treatments depending on the individual, I guess.
Exactly. And, the sources we have here present a bunch of different opinions on this. Some experts are worried about the long-term effects of these treatments, especially on kids who are still developing. Others say it's super important to provide care that matches how someone sees their own gender.
Yeah, it sounds like a really tough issue with strong arguments on both sides. Especially when you add in the politics, it gets even more complicated.
For sure.
And it's not just healthcare, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's also said he wants to kick transgender people out of the military. That's like a huge deal, potentially affecting thousands of active service members.
Yeah, absolutely. This was another big point in his statements. And again, the sources are all over the place on this one. You've got some folks talking about unit cohesion and military readiness, while others are saying it's just plain discrimination.
Right, like, should someone's gender identity even matter when it comes to serving their country? That's a pretty fundamental question.
It is, and there's no easy answer.
Nope. And then there's the whole thing about transgender women in sports, banning them from competing in women's sports, right? Sounds familiar, right? Like we've heard this before.
Yeah, this is something that keeps coming up, basically going back to defining eligibility for women's sports based only on the sex you were assigned at birth.
Right, right. So what are people saying about this?
Well, this issue gets to the heart of a really tough debate. You've got people saying it's about fairness, saying that transgender women have an unfair advantage. Others are saying that excluding them is discriminatory and takes away their opportunities.
Yeah, it's a really charged topic. And it feels like the science and the ethics are all tangled up in this.
Absolutely. And the sources we have definitely reflect all that back and forth.
Okay, so after going through all this, like, what's the big takeaway? What does this mean for transgender folks in the U.S.?
Well, if Trump actually does what he's saying, it'll be a pretty massive change for transgender people in America, legally, socially, like all aspects of life. Healthcare, military, sports. Even just basic recognition, like you said, the sources we looked at, they point to a whole range of ways this could play out.
Right. So a lot of uncertainty, a lot of potential impacts.
Yeah, exactly.
So for folks listening, I think the big thing is, this is a complicated issue. Go beyond the headlines, look at all the different perspectives, and form your own opinion. That's what this is all about, right? Really diving deep.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. Well, on that note, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thanks for having me.